Hello everybody, it's time for the weekly live stream update on what's going on with Connect 2020, and I got some great news to share with you guys today and some things to be praying about as we go through this next week. So first I want to share with you guys about what happened this last week. We did a conference, or we went to a conference hosted by JISP, which is the Japan International Sports Partnership. And they're one of our partners in the overall big scheme of things. And this big event was a kickoff event leading into this year, especially with the Olympics ahead of us. And so it was us and a whole slew of other people from around the region and around the country. We got together, and obviously the main theme is sports, or ministry and sports, or using sports as ministry, any kind of configuration you could think of. Yeah, it was really good to meet a lot of different people, and we kind of did a review about some ministries that have happened over the last year, using sports, as well as some current ministries that are happening, and we also got to share about Connect 2020, especially the Echo Project there at the conference. You can see a post earlier in our Facebook group about what that looked like and what we did, and so we're really thankful for that opportunity. We're thankful for the ability to afford to be able to go to that conference, and the blessing of our team and our leaders to go be a part of that, and definitely a great investment for the future as far as relationships, as far as the immediate future with the Olympics ministry and those types of things. I want to share with you guys a couple of people that we met, and some of the exciting things that they're doing, and things that get us excited and encourage us as we go. So one guy I want to introduce you to is he's a guy up in Hokkaido, which is basically like the Alaska of Japan, or the Russia of Japan. They're like literally a stone's throw away from Russia, and so as you might imagine, there's a lot of snow there. And so this brother, he is a German missionary there, and he works with OMF, and he does a snowboarding ministry, which is like super cool. That just blows my mind that they get to do that and live in a beautiful area of Japan and minister specifically to snowboarders, but there's obviously more going on there. But something that was really cool is that we connected deeply on the four fields, or the 411, or the three circles. Some of those words you might recognize. We're actually using the three circles as part of our overall gospel strategy, or evangelism strategy at the Olympics. So to be able to share in a passion for using that particular tool, and not only sharing in that passion, but knowing that it's working, what they're doing, and how they're using the three circles, it's really working. And he was sharing stories with me after story of just being faithful, sharing, and Japanese brothers and sisters picking that up, and just bam, they're being successful in the sense of they're seeing people coming to Christ up in Hokkaido, which is just really cool. Another example of someone we met was, there's a Japanese pastor over in Iwate, which is like west of where we are, and super on fire, dude. Like, in Japanese we would call him Ginki, which means like healthy or robust. And it was just really awesome to meet him. He's got great English too, so I mean, it sounds more like his heart language is English than it is Japanese. But what's really cool about that is he is one of the pastors at a church that has 2 points of connection for us. So the first point of connection is our partner Daniel Hamilton. That was where he was when he initially got started in Japan. So this, especially then, it was like the boonies. It was we say Inaka, or the not the suburbs even. It's just the rural area. And so that was the church that guy is at, is where he was at, or our partner was at, starting off his life in Japan. So just to see that connection is there, see that kind of come back from the past and connect with what's going on now, really cool. Another point of connection too is that some of our IMB missionaries here in previous generations, they led that pastor's mom to the Lord. And so it's just really cool to see how this it's all networked together, it's all connected together, and we get to reap the fruits of the faithfulness of past missionaries and faithfulness of past believers here in Japan. And that's just cool. It's such a treat to be able to be in the middle of those kinds of stories. And then on top of that, he wants to send potentially his youth, some of the youth from their church, to come serve at Connect 2020 here in Tokyo, which would just be a treat for us as well, just to be able to have them here. And if they're anything like him, they're going to be pumped and ready to go. So we're really excited about that opportunity. Another person I want to tell you about is a guy here, is a Japanese believer who lives in Enoshima, which is basically the closest beach to Tokyo. And so he and a few other guys just started a brand new surf ministry. So they're using surfing as a platform to reach surfers and other people who might be there in Enoshima. So that's pretty cool. And on top of that, just getting to share with him and talk with him. He is a super humble guy, and he's sharp too. I shared with him some of the tools that we're using for the Olympics, especially the trading pins, and he already had picked it up and was spouting it back out to someone else as he was sharing. Like, this guy over here is telling me about these pins, and these pins mean this, and I was blown away. I was just like, wow, either the tools that we have are really good, or this guy's really sharp, or maybe it's both. I don't know. I hope it's both. So that was just really encouraging, and he was encouraging to me. He was super humble, and just ready to go and be faithful. Another one I wanted to share is, well, actually, we just had story after story after story and new connections like that throughout that whole conference. Just kind of connecting some dots with some people who we were like 1 or 2 degrees of separation from, to just making brand new relationships across the country that are going to be very, very helpful in the long run, as far as just ministry and life here in the long term, but as well as, you know, the immediate needs and immediate opportunities that we have with the Olympics. Another huge thing that has happened this week, and I invite you guys to celebrate this with me, is that we believe that we have secured our housing for all of our volunteers this week. The icing on the cake, so to speak, for those things. Now, I say we believe because, again, you know, things can change. You know, especially, for example, with the coronavirus, you know, there's always another news report or another update here or there that sometimes it's like, okay, well, tomorrow is everything going to be canceled? You know, there's nothing that says that, but it's easy to kind of feel in turmoil and tumultuous waves of craziness here. But all that to be said, we think we've secured the housing for everyone across the whole 18 days of the Olympics, and even have a surplus potentially, but that might also be filled up in the meantime, because we will our registration is still open, but God has been so kind. We've been waiting and waiting and waiting, and such a huge relief for us. So praise God with me that He has provided, and that His own time, probably a great way to describe the situation was just before all that stuff happened, the evening before, when we were talking about this, putting our game plan together, I could just tell everyone as we were talking, we're pretty discouraged. We're pretty just tired of thinking about housing and all those kinds of things. And then, you know, 9th inning, God showed up, and it was just amazing. So we're very, very, very excited about that. Please pray that those hotel reservations remain solid, nothing happens to them, nothing changes. Even though, you know, they're pretty much locked in, just know that, you know, anything can happen, anything can change. So just because it's technically finished doesn't mean we need to stop praying about it. So please continue to pray with us on that, and that those locations end up being really useful locations and maybe even future seed beds for ministry. Another thing that I want to share with you guys is trainings. So we are doing our first trainings again. I'll just say this for repetition's sake. We have our first trainings at Tokyo Baptist Church, and that will be the Japanese one will be on March 9th, and then the English one will now be on April 4th. That date has changed. It's just a week later, but that is going to be our first two major trainings. They'll be hosted by TBC. So please continue to pray for that. Exciting news in the development of that stuff is that we have two local pastors confirmed, two local Japanese pastors confirmed to join us in the Japanese training. So that's really exciting, and just the fact that they're in and they're actually, kind of big players in the big scheme of things. It's kind of like having in an equitable way for, I guess, American Christians. It's like kind of like having David Platt and Matt Chandler or something like that coming in, working trainings with you. So that's pretty cool. And please be praying for me as I work with them and navigate the whole being honorable in the language and treating them as, relationally higher than me, and those types of things that you have to navigate in Japanese language and social situations. As a general rule, these guys are pretty awesome. Like, if I mess up, they know that I'm trying, and they usually, they're really good about giving grace and stuff like that. Yeah, please be praying for us as we work with them and serve alongside them and serve them to equip local Japanese believers well. Another exciting thing is that Yurigaoka Church, which is kind of on the west side of Tokyo, just basically kind of outside Tokyo, but definitely within an hour's reach of here, which is a normal commuting distance. They have decided to commit all in on the Connect 2020 plan. So what's exciting about that is they also want to do trainings. So we booked another training in Japanese at Yurigaoka Church on May 31st. So please be praying for that, and be praying that they have the opportunity to offer that training and engage other local churches to encourage them to send their people to the training, because this is the cool thing about it. For us as, the IMB here in Tokyo and local believers, local partners, that kind of stuff, the Olympics is just a rallying point to do things that are essential points. So sorry for the noise back there. We have a friend staying with us. It serves as a rallying point, and that means we can get more people training and getting trained than who may actually serve volunteering at the Olympics with us. And that's a huge win. So anytime we can get more people trained and more people trying, that's one of the main reasons we're here. We're here to encourage the local church, empower them, and do what we can to be their coaches in modeling, their water boys and serving them and being their cheerleaders to encourage them on. So please be praying for Yurigaoka Church and other churches that may host a training here, especially if it's in Japanese. That's just a huge win for us. And then alongside that, churches are starting to pick up on what's going on with the Connect 2020 program, and they're getting interested, and they're talking to us, and they're like, hey, how can we be a part of it? So that's really encouraging for us. That means we're doing stuff right, hopefully, or at least we're doing it in a way that is contextually appropriate and appealing and encouraging to the local church here. So please be praying that more churches get on board, and that this thing is just like a rocket ship, just goes big time here. And then the last thing I want to kind of review about what's going on this week is we had a baptism. So last week I told you about a guy named Noah who became a believer. He is a Japanese American guy, and he came to trust the Lord through Kanye West album and the recent Jesus is King album, which is just really cool. So he got baptized yesterday, and shout out to Dr. Merkel. Here I saw him on the watching list here. I gave him as a present. So usually what happens in the baptisms here is you get baptized, and then you get some flowers at the end, and anyone who's kind of connected with you in that gives you a present or something like that, a congratulations present. So we gave Noah a letter just congratulating him, and then we also, and this is why the shout out to Dr. Merkel, is we gave him the book on 40 questions on interpreting the Bible or understanding the Bible book. So it's just a book of 40 questions of how do I do this understanding the Bible? How do I do this using the Bible? How do I use it to interpret well, and things like that? And so that was my gift, or our gift, that we decided to give him as a baby Christian. So he's pretty intellectual, and if you ever got to hear his background, he's definitely going to be able to use that book well, I think, and I'm very excited to see where his faith goes. So looking ahead this week, and kind of wrapping up this live stream, we have a big Tokyo team meeting of our M's on Wednesday, and so that means that Tara and I and our sub team, we're going to be working with the whole Tokyo team to think through Connect 2020, assign roles, figure out where people can fit in, and serve to their best ability with their gift sets and their passions. So along with that, we're also trying to figure out how to, I guess a good way to say it is shepherd our team, the whole Tokyo team, through understanding and being encouraged to take what they're doing existing already in their ministries, and how do we blend that into the Connect 2020 plan strategically. So how can you take people from your Bible study and then say, hey, let's go and serve at the coffee house together instead of doing Bible study? Or how do we get our people at our local church that we're a part of to join us in street evangelism or praying for the city, for the country, those types of things. So please be praying for us for wisdom and winsomeness in that, and just good teacher brains, I guess, and how we do that, and do that lovingly, because we love our Tokyo team, and we want to see them rock it out this summer, and we're the ones that have the information in our brains, and we got to convey that clearly and understandably, and we're just excited for the opportunities that this is going to bring, just for our team alone, much less our partners and the volunteers that are coming in. So lastly, I want to share with you something really cool that's going to be happening on Friday. So on Friday, we're going to be doing an event called an Ideathon. And for those of you who are familiar with hackathons, it's kind of similar. So basically, with a hackathon, you bring together a whole bunch of people who know how to hack computers or programs or websites or those types of things. And you bring them in for an event, and there might be like a prize or something like that, and you say, hey, hack our system. And what that does is it ends up showing that company or organization where all their vulnerabilities are, so they can go back and fix it. And they've done it in such a way that it's a safe way to be done, so that like bad guy hackers aren't doing it, but people that they're supervising and that kind of thing are agreeing with them to find their vulnerabilities. So in a similar fashion, this Ideathon is going to be focused on a certain problem, and we're going to be gathering local Japanese believers of different backgrounds and demographics and things like that to tackle a problem, and that problem is follow-up. How do we do this follow-up thing well? So in partnership with Japan Campus Crusade and Calm, which is a community of professionals who are believers, and primarily in the IT world, but it's an expanding group that's really, really cool. You'll probably hear us talk about it more and more, but together we are sponsoring this Ideathon on Friday to tackle the issue of follow-up. How do we do this follow-up thing better? How do we shrink the holes in the net of our fishers of men nets, so to speak. How do we do that, especially with digital solutions? How can we use our digital tools and the digital world that we live in here, especially in Japan, to fill the gaps, close the holes, shrink the holes in the nets, whatever examples like that you want to use, so that, one, they get taken further on their faith journey, especially understanding the gospel and understanding what Jesus has done for them, but also getting them back to us or to a organization that we can trust that will take them the next steps, whether it's baptism or small groups or just having further conversations to get them further down the line in their faith. So be praying for us on that. That's a new thing. We've never done an ideathon before. We're trusting our partners who know what that is and how that works to lead that well. Be praying for them, and be praying that God put some awesome ideas in our minds and our hearts to knock this thing out. And hopefully we might have a new tool that might be even ready before the Olympics, which would be a huge, huge deal. The cool thing too is this tool could be used beyond the Olympics, which is something that's worth investing in. So thank you guys so much for joining us on this live stream. Thank you for regularly keeping up to date with us. Two things I want to encourage you guys to do is, one, if you are bringing a team or you're going to be coming here to serve at any capacity in the next year, please be watching these live streams, share them with your teammates, pass them on to anyone who might even be praying for you guys, so that they have some fuel and content to be praying for a little bit more regularly. Actually, 3 things to be praying for, or 3 things to wrap up. So that first part, watch the videos, you'll be more informed, your teammates will be more informed, and people praying for you will be more informed. 2 is, now every month on the 20th, we're having a special day of prayer for what's going to be happening at the 2020 Olympics. That's why we're choosing the 20th. So there will be some resources coming out relatively soon on that particular day of prayer. So please keep an eye out. I'll be posting it. I'll be notifying about it. I might even do a little special video about it. But be praying on the 20th for the Olympics, and not just for stuff that's going on during the Olympics, but for the whole year, because this thing isn't just surrounded on those 18 days. This is a year-long project. So be praying for lead up to the Olympics, be praying for the actual time at the Olympics, and be praying for the follow-up that happens after the Olympics on the 20th of every month. And you get to join a whole huge network in doing that. It's not just going to be you. And then the last thing is, if you could, I have a huge request. Share our YouTube page with anyone and everyone, and particularly ask them to subscribe to the Connect 2020 YouTube page. Our goal is 1,000 subscriptions, and if we get people just subscribing like wildfire, we'll be there in no time. And the 1,000 subscription level gives us the ability to use mobile devices, so phones, tablets, all that good stuff, to live stream, which means that I can actually stop doing our live streams on here and do it on a more substantial platform on YouTube. And then I can bring that video back over here so you guys can see it. But beyond that, we can use our mobile devices for live stream updates on the scene. So at the coffee house, at a festival, at the Olympic venues, who knows? Not in the Olympic venues because they ban that, but outside the Olympic venues, totally fine. And we want to be able to do that, but we can't do that on YouTube, which is it's just a more open platform for us, a wider audience. So until we get to those 1,000 subscribers. So that's just a huge request from me, along with praying for all those other things. Would you mind using word of mouth and sharing that with your Sunday school group, your small group, your neighbors, your friends, and your teams, especially if you have a team that's coming this year? Please ask everyone to subscribe, because they'll be needing that YouTube page anyways for training. So Anyways, thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for spending time with us this evening, this morning, depends where you are. And we look forward to hearing from you soon. Talk to you soon. Bye.